All right, folks. Nice ball game. Tennessee looked really good. Couldn't be more pleased with how the basketball team played today. I know there was a few things. Look, it's brand new. He's trying to get all these guys to fit. And Chaz Lanier filled it up. And, of course, Zeke Ziegler played great. And it was just it was a whooping. Let's get into the numbers here and talk about this a little bit. I'm going to be doing a pre-show, and I'll tell you about that later here at 6:30 for the Mississippi State game. And we're going to go over some of the college football scores too and talk about the Vols basketball. Let's pull up actually the scores here of what's going on. Yeah, right here you can see Lanier had 19 points. Ziegler had 19 points. That's strong. Very, very strong. And let's see. Okpara, he played well. He had 6 rebounds, 10 points. That's nice. Estrella scored only 2. Phillips scored 6. I thought Gainey played well. He scored 9. And they just had a terrible time. We beat them into the ground. They had one guy, the Smith fellow, that played pretty decent. He scored 18. And that was about it. I mean, really, it was kind of a butt whooping. So look at that score. I mean, and that's on the road, folks. That's on the road. So that's terrific. What more could you possibly want, really? And it's it's good to be a Vol right now. Gosh, dadgum, football's in the top 10. We won the national championship in baseball and played in the Elite Eight. If we hadn't run into that 7'4" monster, we might have won the whole thing when we had Dalton Connect. Gosh, but Lanier's looking good. We may have replaced him somewhat. You can't replace Dalton Connect. That's a once-in-a-generation player. But pretty outstanding, honestly. See what y'all, I know everybody's got to be really pleased with this. And it's tough when you start out with so many new players, but their confidence should be through the roof. This is a great win. Yeah, the Gators, they have no chance, man. With the third-string freshman quarterback, they're toast. There's just nothing they can do. I think that's why the athletic director got out in front of it and went ahead and gave him the dreaded vote of support. That's usually – he probably realized Texas was going to whoop up on them. And we'll go over the college scores here in a minute. And we'll talk some about the Mississippi State game. And, again, I will be doing a pre-show at 6:30 talking about that as well. But a great win. I'm pleased. Let's see what everybody's saying here. Yep. I think Tennessee's got to be feeling like this right now.
You just never know when another beast might come down out of the forest. You understand, don't you, Thumb Lou? This is what we call the deadly game. I'm in it for keeps.
Yeah, that 20-point, that's Louisville too. You know, that's not some scrub team that you play early in the season. That's the one good thing about Barnes. Barnes likes to play really tough teams at the beginning of the season. That way his team is forced to really get good quick instead of just kind of moseying on into the season, into the SEC play, where you play 11 hacks and maybe one decent team. He'll play 5 or 6 really good top 20 teams and just go at it. Yeah, Lanier's going to be fine, man. I'm telling you, that guy can fill it up. He was not easy to get. It was us and Kentucky, and he picked Tennessee, and I'm glad he did. So very pleased with that. Let's take a look at some of the college game scores. Y'all brought up Florida just a minute ago. Let's talk about – let's see. Let me get rid of this. Remove that. And let's see. And I'm telling you, you would think I'd be good at this live stuff by now. I should be. All right, yeah, Ohio State's beating the crap out of Purdue. We pretty much knew that was going to happen. I am not shocked by Georgia Tech being ahead of Miami. I told you folks, Georgia Tech's better than you think. And the other thing is Miami has been playing around. They'll probably end up winning the game. I don't think they'll lose. But they like to play around. and they've almost been beaten multiple times. This is just exactly what I didn't know it'd be this bad, but I didn't think they'd be able to stay anywhere close to Texas. It was at Texas. Folks, if you don't have a good quarterback and you don't have a guy that can handle that kind of pressure, he'll get you killed. A freshman quarterback that has no experience will get you destroyed against a quality team like Texas because you can't get anything going. He turned the ball. I'm sure he's turned the ball over multiple times. I know he did at least once. Let me look into that game for a second here. I'm sure it's just been pitiful. Let's see. Game count. Let's go into the box score. See how many interceptions. Yeah, Aiden Warner, 2 interceptions, of course. Quinn Ewers has 5 touchdowns. That'll make you look good. And the defense, I'm sure Florida's defense has packed it in. That's just what happens. You put in, there's just nothing you can do, folks. What do you do? I mean, crap, you're just defenseless. You've lost Graham Mertz, DJ Lagway, you're down to, and nobody's got a quality third-string quarterback in college football. Nobody. And they're usually a freshman. And the reason being, all these transfer guys get the crap out. You're not going to have 2 or 3 quarterbacks that are juniors and seniors like you used to 10 years ago. Those days are long gone. If you're a good quality quarterback, you're not going to be sitting at third string. I'll just go ahead and tell you, you're not, especially if you're a junior or senior. You're going to go somewhere where you're going to get to tee it up. You're going to get to play. So, is what it is. The Tennessee basketball team, I thought they looked terrific. And one of the players that I really let me pull that back up, is, let's see here, Vols versus Louisville. We'll talk about it for a second. Here we go. And go into the box score. Meshack. I'm going to tell you something. Meshack had 7 rebounds, 3 steals. He only scored 3 points, but I can tell you he's a heck of a baller. The nice thing that he does, he plays incredible defense, just absolutely incredible defense. That's why Barnes loves him. He's that guy that does a little bit of everything, and that's hard to beat, especially with a Rick Barnes team. He doesn't, he needs some guys like Meshack, some of those guys that can just shut down their best player. And the nice thing is he's pretty tall. He's like 6'5", 6'6", so he can handle almost any player out there, except maybe a 7-foot center. And he could even, spell a center if he had to. It wouldn't be, but he's that athletic. He also can handle the guys smaller than him, and he's incredibly quick. So, he's a pest. I promise you, the other team, you'll look at his numbers and go, well, he only scored 3 points. He only got 7 rebounds. Ask the other team who annoyed you the most on defense. They'll always tell you it's either Meshack or it's Zeke Ziegler. Ziegler is a nightmare. I'm telling you, that guy gets in your grill, and he never lets up. He is like this giant mosquito, and he's not going to stop till he's got a pint of your blood. Just the way it is. So, really pleased with the way he's playing. He's probably going to be the best guard all around in the SEC again, just like he was last year. Lanier being your shooting guard. And then you've got Meshack, and now we've got that big guy in the middle, plays great defense. We got a couple of nice power forwards that can score. The Millisack, I think, is going to be a really good player for us. Now we're missing that one dude. He's having some sort of personal issue, and he's a scorer too. I can't remember his name. Let me pull that. It won't show in here, I don't guess, but that's Florida. Hold on, let me remove that. Yeah, it's not showing the guy. I cannot remember his name. Y'all will know who I'm talking about. It was a guy out of the transfer portal that scored like 14 points a game. He was a great get. Darlingstone DeBar. That's it. Darlingstone. That was right on the tip of my tongue. Yeah. That guy should be a big help to us, but I don't know what's going on with him. I've not heard. So he's not currently playing. He would be a big addition, but, it is what it is. Yeah, I agree. The team looks great. I never worry about a Rick Barnes team being ready for the season. he gets them ready. You know, he's a very disciplined coach. You don't see Tennessee limp into a season ever in basketball. They're just always ready to roll. So, yeah, I tell you, I'd like to see our offense tonight really get going, and it feels like it's on the verge. You know, Nico's throwing that ball much, much better. He's hitting the guys kind of beautifully, and they just need to catch. Look, they're going into this going, look, we got to help Nico out. If he's going to hit us in both hands for touchdowns, we might want to catch the damn ball. So I think they'll be ready to help him. And Mississippi State doesn't have a great defense. They are an SEC team, though. Never forget that. They're loaded with 3 stars and 4 stars, guys that can play. You know, these are guys that could play on just about any ACC. Well, sorry, ACC, but it's the truth. They got plenty of talent. It's just they're going up against our 4 stars and 5 stars, and Tennessee's got a lot more talent than they do. And they're trying to put in a new system with Jeff Levy and a lot of guys left out of the portal. So this is a tough year for Mississippi State. It'll take them some time. I think Levy's a good offensive mind. Their offense is pretty good. Our defense, I'm glad our defense is solid. They're very solid. We'll need them to show up tonight and handle Mississippi State like they've been doing everybody. Let's see. Look, he's a freshman. I think our kicker will be all right. You know, you're allowed to have one bad game as a freshman. He'll get it back together. If he doesn't, they've got another kicker there too. So, but I think he'll be all right. We'll see. Like I said, the one positive, and I talked about this on the show with my 2 brothers yesterday. You know, Heupel, prior to back when he had Hendon Hooker, went for 4th down all the time. I mean, plus our defense sucked back then in 21 and 22. So he needed to go for 4th downs. And he was great at it. Crap, we got – I don't know how many 4th downs we picked up from middle of the field. Pretty much if he got past the 40 on their side of the ball or ours, he was going for it. Anytime he got past the 40, he was going for it on 4th down, unless it was like 4th and 8 or something like that. Anything 4th, 1, 2, or 3, he's going for it. You'll probably see him do more of that now if he's a little bit concerned about that kicker. You know, there are ways of working around that until that kicker gets it squared away, which he probably will. He's a high talented kicker. I promise you that. You know, he's starting as a freshman. He's good. He'll get it back together. He had a very bad game, probably got in his head a little bit, but I think he'll be all right. Yeah, I would agree with this. Fixing the small issues we need to fix, definitely. Georgia's got a great defense, but our defense matches them. It'll be the first time we play Georgia where our defense is as good as theirs. I'm not saying it's better. I'm saying it's as good. So that should be very interesting to see what happens. All right, let's talk about that Vanderbilt game. That should be super interesting. Now, South Carolina's for real with that defense. I mean, they're no joke. So I wouldn't be surprised if South Carolina wins that game. They might win it handily. You never know. But Diego's going to cause them problems. He causes everybody problems. But if South Carolina could put a lot of pressure on him and keep him under control, they could very well win this game without too much trouble. I would lean towards thinking South Carolina will win this game. Let's look at some of these scores here. Let's see. Let me get back out of this deal and get back into the college scores here. Talk about that a little bit. This Michigan-Indiana game should be extremely interesting as well. Let me pull that up. Let me remove this. And we'll talk about it. Yeah, let's stop that screen. And here we go. Boom. All right. This Michigan-Indiana game, it's at 3:30 on CBS. That's going to be a heck of a ball game to watch. Michigan might show up against Indiana. I don't know that Indiana's played enough quality teams for them to be number 8 in the country, but they are undefeated. Clemson game, Virginia Tech. I don't know how interested I am since Clemson's lost 2 now. Colorado, Texas Tech game. That's going to be a heck of a ball game. I think that'll be good. Oregon's going to beat the crap out of them. I think Tennessee should handle Mississippi State. My God, we're favored by 25 points. Florida State, they'll oh, God. How can Florida State be this bad? And then the game of the day is Alabama LSU right here. I think that's the big game for me as far as what should be incredibly competitive. Look, Alabama's favored by 2.5 at LSU. This Oklahoma-Missouri game could be very interesting as well. It's a late-night game. Missouri does not have Brady Cook. I think this is a top. Oklahoma's favored by 3, and I think that's right. And that tells you how much they think Brady Cook is critical. They're going to play that kid that was at Notre Dame, that Wise kid or whatever his name is. He's no bueno. I'm not seeing him doing much. So there's some good games coming up. The Ole Miss game, let me show you that one. That one's at 3:30. Yeah, this is the game of the day as well. Probably Alabama, LSU, and the Georgia Ole Miss game are the games that people are talking about the most. That's the fake injury game, and we're going to see. I don't know. Lane has already got like 25 guys listed as injured on his mandatory injury list, and I think Georgia has like 5, which is pretty typical. You'll have anywhere from 5 to 10, but Ole Miss has a tendency to put about 25 on there. That way he has the opportunity to fake a bunch of injuries. He didn't last week, ever since Greg Sankey came out, but he was way ahead against Arkansas. We'll see what happens against Georgia. If he's going to fake an injury, it's going to be in this game because, first of all, it's a playoff game for them. This is an elimination game. If Georgia beats Ole Miss is out. They are out. There's no way they make the playoff. If they beat Georgia, they're totally back in the mix because that'll be a huge win for them. They still have 2 losses, but beating Georgia would be huge. Then Georgia's on the brink because Georgia'd have 2 losses, and they got to play Tennessee next week. They'd be on the brink. So, Lord, we'd be getting everything they got and more. So a huge game for both teams. I think you're going to see them fight it out like you can't believe. You'll see everything Ole Miss has, and that's why I think Lane's going to fake some injuries because everything's on the line now, and he's so used to – and it's huge. It's a huge advantage. It gives you like 4 or 5 extra timeouts. It stops the offensive flow of the other team. It kills their momentum. It can take crowd out. It can take the crowd out of it, although I believe that's at Ole Miss, isn't it? Let me check here. I believe it is. Hold on. My memory's not so good. Yeah, it's in Oxford, so that'll be less of an issue. It'll just be an issue of stopping their momentum, not necessarily the crowd. And what does Ole Miss hold, like 60,000 seats there? That crowd advantage there is not what it is at Neyland, for example. It's just not near as loud. And usually after halftime, they're going and getting their hot toddies. So they won't be doing that today. I'm sure they'll show up for the whole game. Let's see what y'all think here. What do y'all think about tonight's game? Most of y'all got us winning by 3 touchdowns or more. Let's see. It's funny. Tennessee takes a lot of grief over throwing that mustard and throwing those golf balls. But, they don't give any grief to Lane Kiffin, who was faking injuries left and right. And then finally, for some reason, they wanted to put a stop to it. Now, I don't know if I had anything to do with that or not. I just know I did a bunch of videos wearing that guy out, and some of them went viral. And I'm glad they did. I don't know if it had anything to do with it at all, but I like to pretend that it did because it makes me feel better because I don't like Lane Kiffin after what he did to Tennessee. So I'm glad they threw mustard at him. Quit faking injuries, Lane, and you won't have to, you don't have to worry about that crap. And here's the other thing. They're a good team. They don't need to fake injuries. They don't. Georgia's not going to be faking injuries. I'll go ahead and tell you, even though Kirby might shove your quarterback, he's not a big fake injury guy. He doesn't need to, and he's not really that personality. Kirby's not really got the personality for that nonsense. He's got a little too much pride in himself. Lane just wants to win. You just might as well know that. That's what he's all about. Anybody that would leave you in the middle of the night like he did Tennessee after 1 year, after we treated him like gold, that's not somebody that's going to, he's not a straight shooter. Yeah, he's going to creak you. So that's why I don't like Lane. In case you ever wanted to know why. That's the reason. A lot of people wouldn't touch him after that too, because that's in the SEC, you don't pull that kind of crap. That was back when that mattered too. If you'll remember, 10, 15 years ago, or was it 10 years ago, that stuff mattered. It's less important now because a lot of traditions aren't what they used to be, but it was a big deal back then. When you stab somebody, a team in the back like that, and he stupidly took that job, not truly understanding how much trouble they were in with the NCAA. They lost tons of scholarships. He was super thin, and he had real good talent on the front, on the top, but he had no backups. And so once they started having a few injuries, they started losing like crazy, and they got fired on the tarmac. Let's see. 42, nah. I think they'll score. I'm thinking 42-10 or 42-13 feels about. I think we're going to score some points, folks. I do. I feel like that they don't have a strong defense. Kentucky had a good defense. And, we missed, our wide receivers dropped those passes. That was so brutal. The Nimrod one hurt me. And then the Brazil one, that was painful as well. But anyway, let's see. I just thought I would cover this basketball. I've been watching these games, and I'm going to be doing a pre-show. And I thought, we just beat the crap out of that. Louisville's a quality program. Thought I'd better get on here and talk a little basketball for a few minutes. I'm getting ready to watch this Ole Miss Georgia game. I was hoping that the Texas Florida game would be decent, but it's just no way, man. You can't put in a freshman third string and expect anything to happen. It's just not going to be pretty. So that's pretty much how it went. And, Florida.
Just walk away.
Yeah, Florida needs to just walk away. It's not going to work out. Anyway, all right. Again, 6:30, I'm going to be doing a pre-show. So pop in here if you want. We'll talk about the Tennessee, Mississippi State. We'll also talk a little bit about the Ole Miss, Georgia, and some of these other ball games. Anyway, we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay, and thanks for showing up.